Hey, this is Eternal King here, bringing you another LOR video today. So, I want to talk a little bit about how to know if you're a card game scrub. So, typically, card game players come in two varieties. There are the serious players who, again, either build their own lists or copy lists from leaderboards and generally have a concept of how a game is played. And play out the game for its duration and wait to see what's happening, and they don't kind of overplay their hands and they know what they're doing. And then there are troll players who typically, will emote spam after their first removal spell. So I'll give you an example of one of the top meta decks in Eternal, that being Azir Aurelia. This deck is very, very beatable. There is nothing about this deck that is insanely powerful um, into this list that you shouldn't feel prepared if you've built your deck properly and you're not a troll. So I'll give you an example. There's typically kind of three ways to win off of Azir Aurelia. You go wide with the free attacks. That's one way to win. Win condition 1, win condition 2, elusive spam, win condition 3, kind of flipping your Azir Aurelia. Or making your tokens very big. So it's kind of the token game. And those are kind of the three major win conditions. But even when I play Azir Aurelia, I typically run it as durable as humanly possible. So again, Treasure Seeker over, for example, Treasure Seeker over the Predict card on 1 is going to feel better than Forsaken Bakai. Is going to feel much sturdier. Forsaken Bakai is going to let you draw a fix, hit your combo pieces faster, go off with the deck faster. But the thing that Treasure Seeker does is you can just, Waking Sands, right? And Waking Sands on block. And prevent your opponent from counter-striking you or attacking you. And that's going to feel better into something, say, like Ziggs Poppy. Opponent slams down a Ziggs, is one drop heavy, then you can kind of Waking Sands and you'll have the blocker and you'll mitigate some of that damage coming towards your face. Treasure Seeker on the counterplay, very good. Um, you know, Slow rolling the Green Glade duo, the triple twin disciplines, very, very important. Makes this deck have a lot of reach that it wouldn't have otherwise. It gives it a lot of protection it wouldn't have otherwise. It lets it trade in situations it wouldn't otherwise. So 3 twin disciplines pretty much mandatory. But again, a lot of this is just like knowing the game and not being scrubby, right? Everything about the way that I play Azir Aurelia is like not going to lose off the first 3 turns. And if you emote spam and just run your deck into the ground after that first initial exchange of maybe you kill the Aurelia or something, like that's on you. You should be on Vile Feast for the Green Glade duo. Don't get me wrong, Death's Grasp being a great card, but you should be on the Vile Feast. You should be on the Avalanche, so you shouldn't be able to just have one elusive card go under you that easily without an answer. You shouldn't be able to lose to Waking Sands just by denying that open attack pressure, because that means you're a standard player and that open attack is way too essential to your game plan. So again, you shouldn't lose to Sparring Student just with the aggro pressure. You shouldn't lose to Emperor's Dais because you don't have any sort of landmark removal. You shouldn't lose to Ribbon Dancer because of the extra attacks. Like, most of this stuff, I've had games where I just double Desert's Wrath into ramp because I just know that the ramp player isn't like building their deck right and running their deck right in Eternal, because they are those sort of meme standard trolls that don't really know how to play the game, or even just card games in general. They just have no concept. And then even still, we are on the triple Defiant Dance, right? So if the opponent just wants to slam big stuff and win, try to win the game that way, then we deny that. So, our Azir Aurelia is and then, if there is an Avalanche or something, we have the deny. Just as durable as humanly possible in terms of this deck. Yes, Azir Aurelia is an aggro deck. Yes, it's a combo-focused deck, but everything the way that we run it, everything that we're doing, all the micro decisions that we've made, whether it is the Treasure Seeker, the triple twin disciplines, or the triple Defiant Dances, is basically keyed in to, not losing off the first exchange of cards. And most competitive LOR players know how to play the long game. and won't think that, you know, a singles grasp is worth emote spamming. But there are a lot of bad LOR players. I would say that most of the LOR players left in the game are exceptionally scrubby, beyond like what we've ever seen in this game, because they think that that matters, right? I'll tell you what does matter: durability, building your decks right. Um, so again, kind of understanding matchups, being slightly off meta, even if you are running the most meta deck in the game, simply by running Treasure Seeker, simply by running the Three Twins, simply by running Defiant Dances, you've done a lot already to distinguish yourself from the masses. All of these choices are very, very good. Um, and again, that's really the main difference between a scrubby card player and a good card player. A good card player, like Mogwai, for example, will individually evaluate card inclusions in his deck, even if it is the most played and popular list in a format. Because again, the evaluations and the matchup predictions and winning games, that the math that has to happen there never ends, and for a good player, that never ends. Um, so yeah, again, I know that LOR is a game that is dying. Hopefully, it will see some sort of fan hosting down the line. You know, again, the fans can host the servers into perpetuity, because again, there's a lot of things about this game that's very fun and very unique and is very anti-noob, which is great. Um, I was playing some Marvel's, Snap, and like Marvel Snap is a game that, has been making some strides to improve the game. Movement was buffed, discard was buffed, destroy was buffed. There's just like interesting high synergy decks that, while they do get shut down very easily and they're very counterable, the devs realize that like decks like that, the equivalent, if Azir Aurelia is a rally deck, and then in Marvel Snap we have movement decks, these decks should be viable, because they are fun. It is fun to see someone play a card pile and lose. That is the kind of the core essence of any card game. Um, so yeah, if you want to, improve your game plan, be a less scrubby bronze player, regardless of your card game, it could be Shadowverse, it could be MTG Arena, it could be Yu-Gi-Oh is very different. Yu-Gi-Oh is a crazy game. Let's not get into that. But it could be LOR, and a lot of it just comes down to understanding the value of card inclusions and being off meta and not doing what opponents think you're doing, and also not believing that there are certain cards and certain play routes that guarantee wins, because they do not. Even if into the most meta deck imaginable, you kill the Aurelia right off the bat. Most of the time, I'm just going to let that go, right? A good player who is playing a Zero Aurelia will just let Aurelia die into removal, because she attunes and because you get the open attack, and that's all you need from Aurelia. Because again, you understand the game and you're making that bold prediction that your opponent won't have, say, pings for Green Glade Duo because they're a bad player. Yeah, so this is Eternal King signing out. Just a little advice on how to get better at card games and be less scrubby. Talk to you later.